Hi, my name is Josh Madoff. I'm a composer for film, television, and animation. Would you believe me if I told you there's an entire Haken Continuum inside of this case? Today I have the great honor of introducing to you the Slim21 Continuum. The Haken Continuum is an MPE Midi Controller, synthesizer, and audio processor that we believe is the most sensitive and accurate electronic instrument ever made. And now it's available in a 3.5 pound format that you can fit inside of a tote bag or large backpack. In case you're not familiar with it, the Continuum is a standalone MPE synthesizer with over 500 internal presets. It's also an MPE Midi controller and a powerful audio processor. Its development began over 40 years ago, with the first Continuum being officially released in 1999. The surface of the Haken Continuum is uniquely sensitive to not just pitch, but also pressure and finger position. It tracks each of your fingers independently with microscopic accuracy by using up to 12 finely tuned Hall effect sensors per finger. Each Hall effect sensor is sampled by a 14-bit AD converter. And while 14 bits is already 64 times more accurate than a standard 8-bit MIDI controller, a longer note plate on the Continuum has hundreds of thousands of Hall effect samples, making the surface exponentially more sensitive. In fact, it is so sensitive that it is physically impossible to touch the surface of the Continuum the same way twice. And now with the Slim21, which has all the same features and specs as the larger Continuums, you have what we believe is the most sensitive and accurate electronic instrument ever made in a form factor that you can easily travel with and fit into any live or studio setup. The Slim21 is perfect for playing one-handed lead lines or bass lines alongside other instruments. And thanks to its microscopic sensitivity, matched with a sound engine designed to fully exploit that sensitivity, the Slim21 blends beautifully with acoustic instruments. And don't let its smaller form factor fool you. The Slim21 gives you access to the full expressive capabilities of the larger Continuums. This preset is just a simple sine wave, where left to right controls pitch and pressure controls volume. But thanks to the extreme sensitivity and pitch accuracy of the Slim21, a whole world of dynamics, range, and emotion is possible. With this preset, in addition to pressure controlling volume, it's also controlling the brightness of the sound. So as I press, the sound both gets louder and brighter, and as I release, it gets quieter and darker. And what one finger plays has no effect on the others. Underneath the surface, in addition to the finely tuned Hall effect sensors, are a series of piano springs, giving me continuous physical feedback as I press and release. It's this combination of microscopic accuracy with continuous physical feedback that makes it possible to achieve orchestral levels of dynamics and expression on the Continuum. Now this preset adds another dimension of control. As I slide my finger up the Y-axis, it gets both brighter and more distorted. and what one finger does has no effect on the others. And if this preset sounds familiar, it's probably because Ed Egan and Christophe Duquesne from Haken Audio played Continuum on Hans Zimmer's score for Dune 2. The Slim21 is a continuous pitch instrument, so exactly where I touch the surface is where the pitch is, and then I can use these lights and my ears to get the note in tune. However, there's a feature called rounding that can assist you with playing in tune. Rounding can be set directly from the continuum itself or in the Haken editor, and your rounding settings can be personalized for each preset or set as a global setting for all presets. With rounding at 100%, all of your pitches will be quantized. And of course, with rounding at 0, you get no assistance playing in tune. You can also decide whether or not your initial touch is rounded. This can be set directly from the Slim21 or in the Haken editor. Rounding can also be used to slightly extend the range of the Slim21's surface on either side. For a sound like wind tube double reed, I prefer to keep the rounding at 0. It gives me a more realistic representation of how a double reed instrument is played. The intonation on the attack of each note is never exactly the same. And having complete freedom of pitch becomes a form of musical expression. Now let's take a closer look at the octave buttons. These will change the range of the playing surface by up to plus or minus 3 octaves, giving you access to a 7-octave range. And from the Haken editor, you can access the full unlimited octave range of the sound engine. You can also change the key of the entire surface by using the semitone shift, either directly from the Slim21 or using the Haken editor. Now whatever note you're currently playing will remain in its original octave until you release it, while the octave buttons will affect the surface for the next notes you play. There's also a very unique feature called pressure-weighted portamento, which, believe it or not, was invented by Lippold Haken over 21 years ago. So right now I have the minimum interval set to a major third, so anything a major third or less will be grabbed by the portamento. Pressure-weighted portamento allows you to glide between 2 different notes based on their relative pressure. Anything wider than a major third will not be grabbed by the portamento, but I can still play as many portamentos as I want in any direction independent of each other. The interval can be set from any number of semitones from 1 to an octave, 2 octaves, 3 octaves, and at the extreme it can be set to the maximum range of the continuum, making it possible to do 7-octave glides from the Slim21. You can also connect a Tri-Octave pedal to the Slim21, which gives you the ability to switch between 3 different octaves with just 1 foot. You can purchase a Tri-Octave setup directly from Haken Audio that comes with a custom pedal tray, or assemble your own using 2 Yamaha FC5s and a Y connector. And just like with the octave buttons, whatever notes you're holding down will remain in their current octave, while the Tri-Octave pedal switches the rest of the fingerboard. This can be used as a powerful performance tool. For example, I love splitting simple triads between 3 octaves. Every sound you've heard so far has been from one of the 500 plus internal presets of the Slim21's sound engine called the EaganMatrix. This sound engine is part of an ecosystem that connects the sound, the performer, and the instrument in a perpetual feedback loop. In this context, the EaganMatrix is more than just a sound engine. Each preset defines a set of complex interactions within this ecosystem. Every patch point in the matrix can be programmed to have anywhere from 0 human input to being completely under the control of a human finger, and of course anywhere in between. Now remember, it is physically impossible to touch the surface of the Slim21 the same way twice. The EaganMatrix was designed to take full advantage of these tiny variations, as well as the extreme precision of the X, Y, and Z dimensions of the fingerboard. Just like acoustic instruments, every single note you play has a completely unique pitch, tone, and volume. This preset uses what's called a touch area. My right hand controls the pitch and vibrato of the note, and then using this dedicated touch area, my left hand controls the volume with pressure, and the character of the sound with finger position. And if you're already holding down the touch area, you can extend it all the way across the fingerboard. It's also nice to use the touch area and the octave buttons at the same time. Macro 4 in this preset controls the amount of delay, and if I want to still have access to the octave buttons while controlling this delay amount, I can lock the menu by pressing preset minus and plus together. And even once you release, if you're still holding the touch area, you can extend it to control that delay too. If you want to hear and learn more about this preset, there's a beautiful performance by Ed Eagan, the creator of the EaganMatrix, linked in the description. The EaganMatrix also handles pedals in a very unique way. So with a normal sustained pedal, I'll grab some notes, grab them with the pedal, and now it's the end of story. I have no more dynamics. I can't play anything on the fingerboard without it being captured by the pedal. Well, the first difference that you'll notice is that I have 0 to 127 dynamic control of the sustained notes with my foot. But what you're hearing is not actually sustained, it's Sostenuto, meaning I can still play on top. And the EaganMatrix actually has 2 Sostenutos. So let's grab a low octave. Now I can hold this with a second pedal. Now I have dynamic control of that low octave with my right foot, and that high chord with my left foot. of course, I can still play on top. In addition to Sostenuto, there are 17 other parameters of the Slim21 sound engine that you can assign to either of your two pedals. Right now I have pedal 1 assigned to Sostenuto, so let's grab another low octave with that. So I have dynamic control over that octave with my left foot now, and my right foot is controlling a macro that opens and closes the filter. You can also connect traditional MIDI controllers and keyboards to the Slim21 using TRS MIDI or the USB MIDI. Using the digital input, the Slim21 is also a powerful audio processor. 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 This preset is a harmonic resonator that allows me to control the volume and the pitch of the resonators with each of my fingers independently. And of course, I can still use the Tri-Octave pedal in the Sostenutos. So right now I have a breakbeat playing to the Slim21 using the digital input. Let's grab a note with the Sostenuto pedal. You can also use your Slim21 to control your hardware and software synthesizers. Let's start with the Oberheim OBX8, which is in my opinion one of the best sounding analog synthesizers ever made. For this first sound, I'm keeping it really simple. Right to left controls pitch, and the Y-axis controls the filter. Now for this sound, once again, I have the Y-axis opening and closing the filter, but I also have pressure, both opening and closing the filter and adding volume. So it gets both louder and brighter as I press. And since the OBX8 is MPE compatible, what one finger does has no effect on the others. That MPE compatibility also means that I can use the Slim21's Sostenutos. And of course the Tri-Octave pedal will work for any kind of synth that you control, MPE or not. So let's grab a note with the Sostenuto. Now I have dynamic control over that note with my right foot. And I can play on top without affecting it. The Slim21 is also a wonderful controller for software synthesizers. Let's start by taking a look at Miniverse by Cherry Audio. It's a recreation of a classic Minimoog and it's MPE compatible. When I click this MPE button, you can see how I have the Slim21 mapped to controlled Miniverse. I have Z or pressure controlling the cutoff frequency and filter emphasis, and the Y-axis is controlling the amount of contour. I also have Z slightly detuning oscillators 2 and 3. Once again, since it's MPE, I can use a Sostenuto. So let's grab that with the Sostenuto pedal. Next up, let's try the DCO 106, also by Cherry Audio. It's a modern software recreation of the classic Juno 106. I have the Y-axis controlling the filter, and pressure controlling the volume, and of course pitch. You can even use your Slim21 to have expressive control over non-MPE synthesizers, thanks to its ability to assign custom MIDI CCs to both pressure and the Y-axis. So let's try controlling my Dave Smith Instruments Prophet 08, which has no MPE abilities whatsoever. First, I've set the pitch bend range to 12, which is the max pitch bend range of the Prophet. Next, I've assigned pressure to CC7, which controls the overall volume of the Prophet. And finally, I've assigned the Y-axis to CC74, which controls the filter of the Prophet. You can also set custom ranges for your MIDI CCs and even reverse them. And all of these assignments can be done directly from the Slim21 itself or using the Haken editor. You can also set custom MIDI CCs for the Slim21's pedals. So I've assigned an expression pedal to CC103, which controls resonance on the Prophet. So as you can hear, the Y-axis is opening and closing the filter. Pressure controls volume, and the pedal controls resonance. It's also possible to use your Slim21 to control vintage analog synthesizers, effects, and Eurorack when you pair it with a Haken CVC. If you'd like to see me controlling an 8-voice analog synthesizer using a Haken Continuum, check out my video, The Wonderful World of the Haken Continuum. And on Anthony Marinelli's YouTube channel, you can see us controlling 4 ARP2600s and a Moog 3C, all with one continuum. Both videos will be linked in the description. Thank you so much for joining me on this tour of the Haken Slim21. I'd like to share a few thoughts before I go. The Slim21 is a true performance instrument, and even though it's very small and portable, there are so many ways to access the full unlimited range of the Continuum. And its small size actually makes it a lot easier to fit it into any production or live setup. I believe that we're going to start seeing Slim21s as a fixture in people's production setups, sitting right next to their traditional MIDI keyboards. It's also worth noting that with each new firmware update, which is always for free, Haken Audio adds new presets, new features, and various improvements. Again, always for free. The Haken Continuum tends to have a profound effect on the people that practice and play it, which is why it's given me so much joy to share the Slim21 with you today. And remember that the Slim21 has all the same specs and features as the larger Continuums. So if you'd like to see an even deeper dive into what the Haken Continuum is capable of, check out my video, The Wonderful World of the Haken Continuum. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on all of the exciting new developments from Haken Audio, as well as educational videos and helpful tutorials. Until next time, happy practicing.